preparing to live stream. So everything that we're doing right now is recorded. I learned this the hard way. Meeting is now streaming live on YouTube, and it's going to be delayed. So you can actually watch us on YouTube. Are you on our channel?
Mm-mm.
Okay, you can watch it so that if we have like questions and stuff come up.
Oh, okay, cool.
We can turn it down. Hey, y'all.
Hey.
Welcome to our live podcast recording. Oh, I need to turn the volume. So I'm turning the volume down now. Okay. This is fun and new. Okay, try not to look at myself. Where can I see comments? Okay. Don't worry, guys. We're just getting ourselves arranged. It's our first time.
First time.
Going live. Should I like use Instagram to call in the forces?
Sure.
If you love us, please come and watch. Leave questions. Don't leave us lonely in these streets. Okay, I'm about to. So how do people even find like the link? They have to go to the Momfluence.
Yeah.
Okay. Check it out. Momfluence Instagram page. Hey y'all, Sarah and I are getting ready to record our podcast for this week. We are going live. All right, if y'all love us, come on over to the I'm just joking. You don't have to do this, even if you do like us. Come on over to the Momfluence YouTube page. I'm gonna link it here in this Instagram video, and you guys can watch us record our podcast, ask questions. We're gonna be talking about how to create just new and interesting content for YouTubers. If you're interested in that, or if you're thinking about starting a channel and you don't know what to talk about, or you just want to mix some stuff up, come join us because we're about to get juicy out. And it's a mess. It's a party.
Okay.
All right. Hey y'all. Sarah and I are getting ready mentions. I probably should have did this before we started recording. Like there are probably people here watching. Like what the heck? Oh, there's somebody watching. Is that you? Wait, that's you.
Me.
I'm sorry. Okay, y'all don't worry about me. Don't worry about me. Okay. See, it's behind the scenes. This is real life, y'all.
Real life.
The Momfluence. The Momfluence. All right.
You done?
No, I'm still tagging so people can find us on the Momfluence. All right, there we go. We're done.
Yay. Okay. So, content ideas. Is this something you've ever struggled with?
Oh, we just
or do you always
today.
know? I just want to know. Like, before we get started, is this something that you have struggled with personally?
No, I still struggle with it. Like, I'm so glad to have the resources that you and I have been able to brainstorm through our conversations together, through our mastermind meetings, because it really relieves a lot of the pressure for me. Because I still struggle, but at least I feel like, okay, I know what to do. Like, I know how to work through it. What about you?
Yeah. So, I totally feel like I struggle for content ideas. However, it's not as bad as it was. Like the tool, like you said, the tools and the mastermind has really like got me thinking, I think, in the right direction. And once you're thinking on the right path, it starts to like become pretty apparent what you're supposed to do. But I mean, I could always use more ideas. However, I don't know, I just think about myself. I'm like, what do I need to know?
Exactamente.
The list is long.
Girl, tell me about it. Okay, so should we like give people a heads up before we start, like how this is gonna look, or should we just like start recording, like just in case anybody watches the replay, or just go for it?
I think that, yeah, I think so. We're going to talk about a few things, and then we're going to, if anybody jumps on the live, we're going to have a time for questions. LaDay and I literally just started this YouTube channel, so it's not likely, but we will make sure to look after we've had a few minutes of talking about things in the middle. And then at the end, again, we're going to ask if there are any questions, because we want, if people are watching, we want this to be very valuable for you. And we want you to be able to like get a lot of ideas for yourself, especially if you're struggling with it.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. So basically, just also for you guys that are new and coming in, like it's pretty much established that Sarah's the good cop and I'm the like naughty cop. So basically, if we are ignoring you guys for a minute, we might need a moment to like focus, because this takes a lot of brain energy, like trying to come up with helpful content and say it in a way that we think will be helpful. But we will be stopping like periodically to like check the comments if anybody's here and to be able to answer your questions. But we will have like moments of time where we're kind of like in the zone. So we're so excited for any of you guys who are here watching the playback. Are you ready to get started?
I'm ready. Let's go.
All right, let's do this.
Okay. So what's our problem?
Hi, Sarah. So I think our problem is that we're going to be talking about today is one thing that I think both of us struggled with this. We still kind of struggle with it now, but we know that there are a lot of like people who are growing their YouTube channels and who are thinking about starting a YouTube channel, but they're not feeling so confident on like content things and what they could be talking about.
Yeah. And I don't know, for me, when I started YouTube, like the only things that I thought that I really could do, I honestly thought the only thing I could do was make cleaning videos, because I thought there's not really anything that I'm an expert in. There's not anything that I am really good at. I have like 5,000 interests. I'm like jack of all trades, master of none, that kind of person. And so I was like, I mean, cleaning seems easy because like I'm gonna do it anyway. And then you'll see how dirty my house is, and that'll be extra inspirational. So that like was the only thing that I thought I could do when I started. What about you?
When I first started, I remember thinking like long and hard, like what kind of content can I make that, you know, it's like interesting and that I felt qualified to talk about. So I had that whole thing about like not feeling like an expert on anything. And so I came to the conclusion that like I have a son who has food allergies. So I came to the conclusion that literally that is the only thing of value that I can talk about, because I've been dealing with this for like 3 to 4 years, even though it wasn't something that I loved. I knew that there was a time where I was looking for information and I could possibly have that available for people who needed it. But it didn't come from a place of like, this is my passion. Like, you know, we're trying to get rid of food allergies. I don't even want to talk about food allergies anymore. Like
right.
And so it never came from a place of passion. It came from a place of like insecurity and feeling like I have nothing else to offer. I wanted to do the cleaning videos, but I always felt like you had to have this like beautiful house and matching furniture and all this. And I was like, and I'm stuck at cleaning too. Like, so I never felt like I could like tap into those bukus of money that, you know, people seem to be making from cleaning their house. So
right.
I struggle with that too.
Yeah. Well, and actually, like, I don't know, it just goes to show you too, but I got a ton of views on those videos. But we'll talk later about why that wasn't sufficient. But I think it's really too about mindset, right?
Yeah.
Because we all want to grow our channels. And so that's something that I thought about primarily. Like, I just wanted the quickest way to get from not making a paycheck to making a paycheck. And I needed to make one. It wasn't like this was like a hobby for me to like just casually do. Like, I wanted to make money. And so anyway, I really had a hard time valuing myself and trying to think of ideas that I could bring to the table that would resonate with people, or that I could like teach them anything. And what's crazy is like after you and I had a conversation one time about our kids, And then I did like one parenting video because I just felt it in my heart to do it. It was when we all got quarantined and I just felt I needed to make this video about parenting. So
Yeah.
I did. And then I was thinking about it. I'm like, I've been a mother for 20 years, 20. And I was in children's ministry at my church for 15 years. That is 15 years worth of Sundays showing up almost every Sunday to deal with like a range of kids from nursery to 5th grade and like teach them and help them with behavioral things and all kinds of stuff. I'm like, I had some nerve trying to act like I didn't have anything to offer, but it's just a mindset. You know, I was highly insecure when I first started my channel, and thankfully we've worked through a lot of that.
Definitely. I feel like, you know, also just to throw this out there, I know we forgot to mention this, the purpose of this podcast is we're going to dig into some mindset stuff about why we think that creating content and coming up with like new and interesting and relevant content is so hard. But at the end of this, or toward the middle of this, we're going to dive into some strategies that we've learned that we think will be really helpful to help kind of get your brains spinning and help hopefully get people to reevaluate what they can bring to the table.
Right.
But before we do that, I want to kind of jump back on what you were saying about feeling like, you know, like Sarah, number one, you have awesome parenting advice. So like you guys, Sarah and I, we talk like every day, and she has helped me more than she will ever know. And so it's like crazy because you don't really know like how much information you have in your head that you don't even think is important, or that you think that won't help people. And there are people like literally just like floundering and like looking for this information that you might have. And so I think that one of the reasons that we can fall into this trap of feeling like we don't have content to make is because like, I don't know, it's just, I guess when you live with yourself, like you just kind of like get used to who you are. You get used to you take yourself for granted. You get used to your routines. You get used to just being who you are. And like, meanwhile, there are people who are outside of your life who are like wondering, like, how are you holding it together? And even if you're not, like, how are you making this work? How are you doing this? I know like one thing that I used to research a lot is like, when I was getting ready, thinking about going back into like the workforce field, is like moms who work. I think there's more content on that now, but I'm like, you know, we know.
We know.
We know.
You like, can't see my eyes on the podcast.
Which I'm trying to like try this delicately, but like we know moms who work and they literally feel like their lives are so like, I don't know what to talk about. And I'm like, lady, I will tell you what to talk about. Like, how are you like doing what you do? Like, you're incredible. And, you know, like basically there's just like information going back to even Sarah and her just like wisdom and knowledge of like gentle parenting strategies. Like, you're like a wealth of information. And I think one thing that kind of holds people back is we kind of get into this mindset that, you know, when it comes to talking about like, I want to say more controversial topics like that, we feel like there's like one path that works for everybody. And if we don't know that path, or we're not an expert, or we don't have the education, then we're not qualified to talk about it. But I feel like that's a bunch of pooey, because like there are a multitude of pathways that can be taken to get you to a destination or to help people with solutions. And when we get to the point where we're like, I'm not talking about, you know, what's going to work for everybody. I'm just talking about my pathway. I'm going to own my pathway. I'm going to own what works for me. Like the content ideas will just, you won't be able to contain them anymore. Once you get to that confident point that I don't have to be an expert. I'm just talking about my pathway. I'll talk about what works for me. If it's for you, great. If it's not, you better go over somebody else's channel. I don't know why I'm always trying to kick people off the podcast. It's like a theme. But.
Please stop.
We are not vanilla. You are for us or you are against us. So
that is true. We have some opinions.
We got some opinions.
But so here's what I think about that. So I have never wanted to give parenting advice because I have an issue with my temper. So it's very hard for me. It's something that I work on every day. I'm trying to be patient. I'm trying to like be as gentle as I can. But anytime I want to tell someone about parenting advice, like I think I told you this, but like the next day after I told you that, I was like, yeah, I just yelled at my child. And it's stuff like that that makes you think that you're inadequate. And no, you're just a person. Like people who are big, very, very big, they, with all their wealth of experience, still make mistakes and still have flops. And we still listen to them because they have enough time and experience in something that we respect them. And we know, like, we're so much gentler with other people than ourselves. We're like, oh, it happens, you know.
Yeah.
You said that weird thing that didn't turn out like you wanted it to turn out. People totally construed it a different way. And we like give those, I guess, forgiveness or exception to the people that we love, and we don't do it to ourselves. We're like, see, I told you you're a terrible mom. You have no business telling anybody about your momness.
What? You know? I kind of look at it a little differently. I know this is like kind of off tangent, but I'm like, how am I supposed to be taking parenting advice from somebody who doesn't know what it's like to like lose their crap every once in a while on a kid? Like, you know, if I perceive that you're always peaceful and gentle and you always have it together, I'm like, I can't relate with you, lady. And I'm moving on. But like the fact that you told me that makes me feel like she gets it. Like, I feel like our flaws kind of lead to that connection that people need in order to know that, you know, these tips can still be valuable for you. Just do the best that you can. Give yourself grace. And then when you are like in a better headspace, you know, these are things that can help. And so. Yeah.
No, I think you're right too, because like I have met people that I think, like I watch Ellen Fisher. I think she's amazing, but I think she's just like a naturally amazing parent. And I really just thought I totally brushed off all of her advice because I just thought, well, she's just a natural. Like she just gets it. It's not hard for her, until she made one video where she left in the audio, because usually she does like shots of the family, but there's music. She's like, I just want to let you guys know it's not always perfect over here. And she left in the audio, and it's like all crying and screaming and yelling. And
that's like, my girl. She
okay, I'll listen to you. So
yes, she's real.
She's real.
I think it helps. Like it really helps. Like I think sometimes we think of it as like, what's the word I'm looking for? Like something bad. When we have advice to offer and we know that we're flawed, but sometimes our flaws can actually make that information like more valuable and able to connect and reach people that those tips were not able to reach before. Like, you know, I don't know if that makes any sense, but it's like when I feel like you get me and you understand where I'm coming from and you're not like perfect all the time, then I'm like, okay, if it works for her, then I have a shot at this. Like, you know, this thing can work. And so.
Right. Well, if you're still trying and you have flaws, that means that you have tried and discarded a bunch of theories. And so you're probably like refining, you know, like you're probably getting somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally. Totally.
So basically we had this little conversation to just share that sometimes people get so caught up on feeling like they have to stick to these trendy topics, that they're not qualified to talk about other things that are going on in their lives, or maybe they can't even see the value that they have to offer, that they kind of get into this whole thing like, I don't know what to talk about. I don't know what videos to make. I don't know what my niche could be. And like, it makes it really difficult. Oh God. I was really trying not to say that. Take it back. Can we cut that part out?
No.
Okay. We're just going to go with it. I don't know what I could talk about. How do you talk about that word without talking about it?
Well, it's too okay. So people talk. Let's just say the word. People talk about niche a lot, and I think that that's just a fancy way of saying your friend group. So, like, I know that there are going to be people who watch my content that are like, she has pink hair, and that is ludicrous, or her family is a little wild and that's just not for me. Okay, but that's not my friend group. Like I've been my whole entire life knowing that there are certain people who like me and certain people who don't. But when we get on our content, then all of a sudden we think everyone should like us, and that's not the case. So don't think that this is a personal like condemnation of who you are if everybody doesn't like you or if someone's leaving little messages on your videos. No, not everyone's supposed to like you. But we also, okay, maybe it's just me. I'll just speak for myself. I also tend to think of YouTube as like 100 people watching. And so I'm like, I have to be like, present a wide enough stance so that a lot of these 100 people like me so that I can get anywhere, but it's not 100 people watching me. I'm sure I could Google it, but it's like millions of people watching YouTube every day. So
yeah, I feel like we could have a whole episode about
niche.
That niche word.
Yeah. Keep moving. Keep moving.
Okay, so yeah, basically we're just trying to say that it's these mindset things. It's these feeling like you're not an expert, even though you really are, and feeling like you have to have some certain authority, which you do, but you don't see it yet. That makes us feel like, okay, I'm tired of making these cleaning videos. I want to make it big on YouTube. I don't want to do cleaning. What the crap can I do? And people are sticking with trends that they don't really like, and they're feeling like kind of trapped. And so in this episode, as I mentioned earlier, we're going to talk about some strategies that we have come across. And it's not even that. It's like a combination of a lot of strategies that have worked for us. Sarah and I, we talk about YouTube quite a bit. We're also in a mastermind group where we kind of like work through things. We listen to a lot of podcasts. We read a lot of books. So we are here to deliver the goods.
We're going after it.
Oh yeah. So we're about to, y'all don't even know how much research we're about to save you guys. I am so excited because if I could go back in time, this is the podcast I needed to hear to get my life together. So I'm excited for y'all.
I'm excited for y'all too.
So, yes. So girl, we need to name this process. We're still kind of in our beta phase, girl. We need to name it. We need to name it. Let's think of a name.
Right now?
Can we?
There's just that one person watching us, and it's
we can like change it. Like, okay. Yeah, edit this part out.
It can be okay. Hang on.
I mean, it's not even we are combining strategies from a lot of people, so it's not even their method anymore. Now it's our method because we
like niche anyway. Like I think that that's just a dumb word, and it's because it's like a hot word. People respond to it, but I think it's like one of those fancy words that nobody totally understands. Like I didn't, maybe you did, maybe everybody else in the world did, and I'm the only one. But I was like, what the heck do you mean by niche? Like I understand the concept, but walk me through how to get to that person.
Yes.
In my niche, you know what I mean? So I don't know. We can decide to call it what? What are we going to use?
Let's just call it the LaDay and Sarah method. That's the beta name. Sarah and LaDay method. No, let's call it the SNL method. That's the beta name. You like it?
Yeah.
Okay. SNL method. We're gonna give credit where credit's due, but it's a combination of things.
It is.
And so now it's ours.
I love it.
If you follow the SNL method, basically, this is not the game plan for you. If you are thinking that, you're kind of on that get rich quick scheme, good luck. This is not the method for you. This is going to be really good for somebody who really sees themselves becoming an expert in some area or topic of interest or topics of interest, however you want to look at that. You want to establish yourself as like a go-to person for something, and you are looking at like the long haul, like you want to be around for a while, and you want to really build a strong foundation of content that kind of makes sense and kind of flows together. If that's what you want for your channel, the SNL method is for you. In order to do the SNL method, please let's go ahead and get rid of this idea that people, if you're a human and you have to problem solve and you have figured out a way to solve any kind of problem in your life, can I call these people an expert? I don't know why I'm calling all these people. Y'all are my girls. Y'all know that. Can we call them? Can we call them? Y'all are on the path of becoming an expert. I'm just saying. like if you live life, like for example, if you're a mom and you're into organization and you do this crap day in and day out, day in and day out, like, a little something, something. You don't have to be like, have a certificate in order to help people and to know, like show people that you know what you're talking about. There's always somebody who is like 2, 3, 4 steps behind you that maybe, Martha Stewart is a little too high for them, but they feel like they can identify themselves in you, and you can really give them that path to getting started on where they want to go. So in your own right, like you are an expert to somebody.
Well, I was thinking, so we had our last mastermind on Saturday, and you know who we were talking to, who was in the hot seat. And I was realizing, like, it just blew my mind because we were talking about her channel and everything. And then I realized she has been able to stay on track with her health and fitness for this whole time. Like, the coronavirus didn't shake her. She just kept going. And then I was like, none of the rest of us fit in our pants. So that means you're the expert. And like, that's totally true.
You can give us tips.
Exactly. So I don't know. I guess we have to delve into that later. But like, if you've been able to consistently do anything, you're an expert, because most of us do not do anything consistently. And we think everybody else does but us. No, most people don't. So if there's like that one thing, and it doesn't matter if it's like a tiny niche, if you will, if there's something small that you do that you love doing, then you're an expert. Just period.
Literally, if there's like one person, I don't want to say behind, because I don't want to imply like some levels here, but literally if there's one person that they can't do what you do, that means you have the ability to help somebody. Like, you don't have to be like at the top of the totem pole to be considered able to help somebody. Like, no matter where you are on the gradients of the life totem pole, the knitting towing pole, the health totem pole, like if there's somebody who's like struggling to do what you're doing, then you have the capacity to share your tips, to share what you know, and to help bring that person up. So let's just go ahead and like get rid of this whole idea that you have to be an expert, you have to have a certificate, you have to be a specific authority in order to share what you know, to share your pathway.
Please.
Please,
someone out there teach me how to grow anything green and not kill it.
Okay. If you know a little bit, you know enough to help me. That's for sure. Because I know zero.
Exactly.
One thing that I also want to add, I kind of hinted at this earlier, is this whole understanding that there's like no one right way to do anything. Because I think this is something I needed to hear. Yeah. Like, that's another reason I struggled with sharing, like, how do I work through this, or how do I get through that? Is because I felt like there was one way, there's the perfect way, and I'm not doing it that way. Therefore, I suck. Like, I really just want to make sure that, the person that I'm talking to, that I'm trying to connect with, knows that there are multiple pathways to accomplish pretty much any goal. And so just because you don't do it the way that is publicized on the media or that's popular on YouTube doesn't mean that your pathway is not going to help somebody else. Because just like, there's a reason that you're not doing it in the standard way, the perfect way, because it's not working for you. So if it's not working for you, that means it's not working for somebody else. And if you have a different pathway to get there, and it might not be the status quo, like, girl, you need to share it, because it's going to help somebody out there who's having the same issues as you are. So I just wanted to share that.
Well, and I feel like your channel is the perfect example too, because you took a method, the Fly Lady method, and you, even as the point of the Fly Lady method was to make people feel, sorry, I have kids and they're loud. The point of the Fly Lady method was to make people feel like taking care of their home wasn't so overwhelming and not be such a perfectionist, but people still took that and made it like a perfectionist standard. Like, if I don't do the Fly Lady method perfectly, it's not good for me. And I think you had a lot of bravery, because you were just like, it doesn't work for me. Not totally. Like, there are things that I need to evaluate and things that I need to like just wiggle around until they work for my family and my lifestyle. And the thing is, we all feel like, oh, maybe we're the only one who has these thoughts. We're not.
Absolutely not.
the fact that you had them and you said it out loud and then all these people responded to you, like, hello. So I think that that's something, the more that I'm learning about serving people is if you try to act like you are an authority, that is a disservice. Like the more you just say how things are going for you and like issues that you're having, the more people resonate with that because like no one's perfect about anything. So
yeah. And I totally think it creates that sense of like if you're struggling with the same thing that I'm struggling with and you found a way to make it work, then there's hope for me. Because I think sometimes people can get caught up in that whole perfectionism thing and think that I can't do it the way everybody else is doing, therefore I won't try. But if they see somebody else who's like vulnerable about this is difficult, you know, like and this is what I figured out so far, it really gives people hope that, okay, if it works for you, then like I might want to try again, like, you know? And so,
right. Right. And so, I don't know. So I think as far as like, we're not calling it our niche, but as far as just finding the people that you're speaking to, like your friend group, basically, like what is it about them? I think that that's your first thing. You have to find out who your friend group is. Like identify what their life is like, what their problems are like, how they're attempting to deal with the problems, just basically the ways that you could like fit in and help them. And again, this was very nebulous to me until I realized all I need to do is think about who I am, like even a year ago, even 6 months ago. Like, who was I? What tools did I not have? What was I struggling with that I couldn't find a solution for? And that has been a huge difference to me because now when I'm making my videos, I've done YouTube for 1.5 years and like that's not forever, but it's long enough for me to talk to enough people that I know I'm not the only one who struggles with certain things or has like confidence issues or has like all the different little idiosyncrasies about yourself that make you think that you're like alone on an island. You're not. So I think the first thing is to figure your group out, figure out who it is that you're speaking to, right?
I feel like we're over here practicing what we preach. Like we just said that, or like you don't have to be an expert to help people. And I feel like I feel like I've had a lot of reservations and like wanting to talk to people about YouTube because I'm such a baby in the game. But like it just goes back to what we were just saying. Like we've had to work through a lot of stuff. Sarah and we talk about this a lot, especially with the confidence thing. And I'm like, that's what I can offer to people is like, I know that there are people who haven't even made it this far. And by that, I mean, just getting through the confidence to like show up and having like the way they think about things, feeling confident to share their story. And so I'm like, we can offer help in that because I don't know about you, Sarah, how many YouTubers do you see like sharing that this crap was hard when I first started, you know, because most of the YouTubers I see are just like, I got it together. I'm going to give you the magic pill to get from A to Z. Yeah. But some of that content I can't really relate with because I'm like, yeah, but like, I'm just a mom. I don't know what to say. Like, just a mom. I get slapped myself for saying
I will slap you through this camera.
Yeah, that used to be the conversation in my head.
I know.
I'm like,
no, I totally know.
That. You know, like people who think that because I'm like, I used to be her. And I feel like the only reason I could show up on, you know, like a platform talking about YouTube because I'm like, even though I'm not that far, like it's been quite a little journey from a personal, you know, perspective.
Well, I didn't even know you at the beginning of YouTube, although I do feel like we've been friends for
at least
most of our journey. So
at least a year.
Yeah, and I've seen like huge changes and everything, like including your confidence. Like I think the thing is, we still think the thoughts, but we shut them down fast. And we're like, we know that there is a different way of thinking, but anyway, I digress. But okay, so yes, I've seen a lot of videos where people are like actually saying that it was difficult when they started. The thing is though, if you have 100,000 subscribers and you do this full time or 200,000 or however many you have, and then you're telling me it was very hard in the beginning, like I understand the words that are coming out of your mouth, but it means nothing to me because I didn't see you when you were first starting. And like, that's one thing that I felt so vulnerable doing when I started my channel. You can go back and look at my videos from the very beginning. I did YouTube journals and I'm going to continue to do them because, and then I think we're even going to be doing them on this channel because we want to show what it feels like to be on the struggle bus instead of get to a point where we feel like we've had some success and then we feel a little braver to be like, hey, it was hard when we had a measly, you know, how many subscribers do I have right now? 500 subscribers.
Measly my butt. Sarah, I don't want to hear it. 500. Okay. I'm just saying I'm sure there used to be a day where like we would get one person. We were like, yeah. And that one person was probably us. So 500, that's great. That is, yeah.
It is great.
It is.
And I love you all.
And very engaged audience, like people who are like diehard Sarah supporters. It's like when you haven't started a channel, you may not be able to see the value in that because you think that subscribers are just going to flow out of the air. Like, I don't know. I can't even think of an awesome simile. Like money flowing off trees. I don't know.
There's no subscriber tree like a money tree.
What you get in that game, what you get in the YouTube game, you see it's not like that. You see it's not like that at all. And then you're like, when you get to 500 subscribers, you're going to be like, heck yeah, too, because it's hard.
Yeah. Super hard.
Okay. So we're kind of talking about the strategy now, right? Mm-hmm. And so you hit us with the boom. You need to know who you're talking to. Mm-hmm. Sarah, I know you talked about a friend group, but even me, that gives me anxiety. I'm just going to throw this out there for LaDay, because that's the girl who I'm talking to. It's so awkward to say her name. But like for me, even getting even more narrow, and I know this is hard to talk. We need to have an episode to refer people to when we talk about niche, because I know that there are a lot of people who are going to listen and are going to be like, "Oh, niche. I don't want to like exclude people." But for me, like I've had to even get more narrow. I have to see a person like when I'm talking, because like talking to an audience to me still feels quite painful. Like, and it like you kind of fall into that whole thing of like wanting, like looking for approval and it really being hard to say what you need to say. Right. But like when you can really narrow down, the name that a lot of people call her in the marketing industry is your ideal customer avatar. And it is the person who you make content for. And when you are just so clear on who she is, most likely your ideal customer avatar is going to have a lot of problems in her life. She's going to be probably, if my ideal customer avatar, she needs to lose weight. She's trying to figure out how to parent. She has food allergies. She's trying to like strengthen her marriage. She has like 50 different problems. You don't have to like talk to all her 50 different problems. Right. Just the one that you can connect with. You feel like you have something to say, but really just getting clear on like who she is, the problem that you think you could help her solve, and like really breaking that down. Like, I feel like I should be adding more detail here. I can't.
Well, okay. So I had a problem with this too, because like, I know I said friend group, but I've only ever had a few girlfriends. I've had a lot of fellow friends. I know you are. Yes, my Instagram bio before this said podcasting with my bestie, and I would have kept it, but there was not enough characters. Anyway, so I have always like had a hard time making friendships. So this has been the ideal customer avatar has been a hard time for me, because I've heard people talk about it who are like, they're that girl who they're like very good at making friends, and like they would totally be the type of girl in high school, which I don't know, I'm 41 years old and I still think about high school, but they'd totally be the girl in high school in her cheerleading uniform, like tossing their hair back. And I was dressed in black and I was feeling the feelings, and I was writing horrible poetry, and I was like barely getting by. And so anyway, it's hard for me, even as an adult now, to think about like, oh, look at all the people who definitely want to hear from me. No, But when I think about who I was, okay, like there are pivots in my life for sure. So 2016 is a huge pivot. Like crazy stuff happened in that year. And then starting a YouTube channel was actually a pretty huge pivot. I just didn't see it until later. And then getting to a year was a pivot. So basically, all that to say that when I think about who I was, what was I looking for? You know, I was not confident and I was scared of what I wanted to talk about. And I didn't think anybody would be interested because I was a work in progress and I wasn't like established in any way as an expert. And so I don't know. I think that that's a good way of evaluating the problems in a person's life because you could just say, like, what things really were hard for me at this time in my life? And like, what could have solved that? What information could I have heard that I know now, but I didn't know then that could really have fed me and made me feel hopeful and made me feel like I had a purpose? So those are just ways of breaking that whole thing down, in my opinion.
Oh yeah. My ideal customer avatar is certainly myself as well. And I feel like when I speak to her is pretty much what you said, like feeding her the information, not feeding. Oh God, that sounds like a baby, but basically giving her the information that I know that she's looking for. I know that she's Googling. How do I know what she's Googling? I am her. I know what she was doing back in them days. And like putting myself in that position to give her that information, because I know, I have like my other channel, Love Always LaDay, but I'm going to use the Momfluence as an example. I know for me, I'm like a person who really thrives off of like structure and like frameworks and what are your processes for doing this. And even now, I don't see so many videos about like, how do I, come up with contents from A to Z? Like, what's my thought process? And so that's why we're making this video, because we both really struggle video podcast. That's why we're making this podcast, because we know that we both have really struggled in that. And so we're like, well, if we used to struggle, all right, girl, I'm about to bring some tea up here. Hold on. If we used to struggle with that and we had a hard time finding content for that, there's a good chance that our ideal customer avatar, who is just like me
and just like
is searching for it right now.
Yeah, for sure.
And so we want to put ourselves in a position. And I just want to also add this for the ideal customer avatar. Just because you like narrow your focus down to one person doesn't mean that you're only going to attract people who are just like you in every single way. It's not usually how that works. It just helps you focus and narrow down your content, which will be helpful to many more people if you're focused and narrowed down and you come like with a clear, correct. There's no correct. If you come with a clear message. And so I don't want it to sound like I'm just talking to one person. And if you're not a replica of me, that this isn't applicable to you, because that's not true. And it's also not going to be true for you and your content. When you start to narrow down, like you're going to be able, it's like when you start getting so narrowed and so focused, I don't know how to really explain this, Sarah, but it's kind of like I don't know. Do you have like words to explain what I'm trying to say here? Is it even making any sense? I'm just trying to say, like, it helps.
Are you trying to say what Angie Lee says about you niche down to build up, to blow up?
Well, it's more like when you talk to everybody, you talk to no one, because nobody can look at you and imagine that you're like literally an authority in everything. But it's like when you get very narrow, what did James Wedmore say? He said that pretty much people are trying to conserve brain energy. And when they come to your channel, they need to be able to look and see like if this is the person for me or not. And so basically your ideal customer avatar just really helps you narrow down your message to help you have like a focus so that you can attract the right people. That's all I'm trying to say. I don't know how to like say that beautifully.
No, I think that's good.
I'm still growing, y'all. That's okay.
Yeah, always growing. I'm about to text someone to take care of a barking dog. Okay, so if we've established that there is such a thing as your ideal customer avatar, because that is important if you're going to become unblocked with content ideas. Now, how do we talk about we have her now. How do we create content ideas for her?
Mm-hmm. Sarah, I'm gonna let you handle this one because I feel like you have a passion about this. We're about to talk about the vehicle. I think Sarah's gonna be able to break it down because she just has like some more passion, a little more passion.
Okay, well, I've texted someone to take care of the barking. Hopefully that will happen. Okay, so LaDay and I both have done these classes by this guy named James Wedmore. And if you don't know who he is and you're interested in marketing or business at all, go check him out because he's amazing.
Get to know him.
And he provides like so creepy.
I'm gonna collect $30,000. I'm manifesting. I will be on the beach at his mastermind in a couple years. I don't know how long they mean it to gather
just
that
1
much
year.
money.
No,
1 year, amen.
Just throw it out there.
Amen. I want to be in his mastermind group. He has sold me.
Next summer there will be no COVID. Knock on wood.
Yeah, exactly.
But he says he puts out so much free content. And one thing that he says is we put a lot of pressure on ourselves to be the vehicle for someone to go from point A to point B. Like you want to revolutionize how people like manage their household or how they parent their kids or whatever. But you're not. You are the piece of the puzzle in their life that leads them to the vehicle that they can then drive on their own to get to like another level where they're doing better and they're having more awareness and whatever, more success. So that's what he says. And when he said that, I got so happy for whatever reason, because I just thought it relieved a lot of the pressure. I just wasn't, because that's something that I've always done. I feel like it's up to me to give you the exact number of things to do in order to get from point A to point B. But you don't need me to do that. You're awesome as it is. All you need me to do is to provide you some framework that works for me, because there are enough people like me that need this framework. And then you will do it because you're a bad ASS, and then you will level up on your own. So once he said that, I was like,
yeah.
So
I pretty much had the same reaction too. I was like, yes. Yeah, like it really took a lot of pressure off of me as well.
Yeah, totally relieving pressure. So anyway, that was really cool. And so we have that in our minds that we're not the vehicle. And then we also have...
Ooh, before we move on, are you moving on to step 3? Can I add something to step 2?
I was just going to talk about brainstorming ideas. I was going to move to step 3. Go ahead.
Yeah. Oh, girl, can I add on step 2? This is for little Day.
Please.
For little Day. I just want to basically add on to what Sarah's saying. Basically, I'm about to say the same thing, just the bad cop way. And this is for little Day. This is for little Day. Basically, yeah, I just want to clarify little Day. And for those of you who don't know, little Day is my ICA, so that's what I'm talking to. Yeah, what you're presenting to your person, it's not about you. It's not about your webinar. It's not about your group that you're going to put together. It's not about it's literally about what tools can you offer to move somebody from point A to point B? What method can you share to move somebody from point A to point B? What framework can you share? So it's not about you. And so I think for me, that can really relieve that pressure of feeling like you have to be the authority on something. Because you can even be a researcher. You can be somebody who reads books. Like Lord knows there's a lot of people who don't even like crack a book open and like you like come into contact with some information that you can literally share. So it's not about you. It's about the resources that you can provide, the methodology that you can help someone with. And I think it's also important for my little Day to know that there's no one right way. So just get that out of your head.
Right.
You know that this method works because it has worked for you, or even if you just share that this is just something that I've learned about, like it is still okay to like put that out there. So I just want to clarify that for my little Day who still feels like she has to be the expert on this. Like you are the expert on your pathway, and that is perfectly okay.
Yeah. That wasn't very bad copy, by the way.
Hmm?
That wasn't very bad copy, by the way.
What do you mean?
I feel like that was bad cop. You didn't lean into the microphone and say anything threatening,
Oh,
which is what you usually do when you're
yes,
being a
girl.
bad cop.
I'll be going off, but no, I didn't. Okay, I'm doing good. Yes. Okay. Like the last podcast. Are we gonna produce that one? Because
Oh no.
I just like went off with some people.
I'm still wondering. We need to listen to it together.
I went off on little LaDay in my mind, so LaDay get your act together. All right, so okay, we're ready for step 3. I'm ready for step 3 now, Sarah.
Okay, all right. So we got step 3 from Stephanie Gass, and we made it our own because I have to clarify it a little bit. So Stephanie Gass's method is, she says you can get 50 content ideas from understanding 10 struggles of your ICA. We're just going to call her that. It's fine.
Should we explain who Stephanie Gass is to little DayDay, who's like, who the heck is Stephanie Gass?
Yeah.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Okay. So before we do that, just Stephanie Gass, she has the Mompreneur Mastermind show. She does podcasts, and she really does a great job with breaking down the entrepreneurial pathway to people, especially moms. She kind of shares her experience on like what she's been doing, how she went from, what did she say? She was like a network marketer, turned into like this like work from home, like she's doing a dang thing. She's doing the thing that we want to do, and she really shares. And I find that she breaks it down in a way that's very clear and approachable, and like not very markety, not very full of like language that I don't understand. And so that's what we're sharing, is one of her episodes that we came across, where she talked about how to develop 50 content ideas for your ideal customer avatar. And it's a 5-step process. So Sarah's going to break down that process for us.
Okay. You're actually way better at this than me, but the only thing I'm going to say is I'm going to say what it is and why it confused me. And then I want you to jump in. Okay. So anyway, Stephanie says that you have to list out 10 struggles that your ideal customer avatar is having. So that's like easy for me. It's like confidence and like ideas and focus and that kind of thing. And then 10 ways you can solve those problems. So what actually helps your person to deal with those struggles. And then 10 quotes or resources to further bolster their knowledge. And then 10 stories. The 10 stories are like how you're relating. Like, this happened to me, ergo, you can get to the other side. And then 10 benefits of what you're doing. So this confused me about why there would be 50, because I just thought there are 10 things and 5 different columns. Okay. So I thought like there would be at best 5, right? Or 10, I guess 10. Sorry, yeah. Math is difficult. 10, because I figured you, in a video that you put in, if you're trying to like, or a podcast, whatever it is, you're dealing with the struggles, the problems, the resources, the stories, and the benefits all in one video. But LaDay kindly informed me, because I'm slow, that you...
Stop. You're not
I have moments of slow. I haven't slept in a long time. That there are a million different ways you can say the same thing. And you have to keep saying the same thing over and over, because it takes people 17 times of hearing the same thing before it clicks. And I know that this is true because that's been my story. Okay, take it away. LaDay.
Yeah, pretty much. Like, we'll kind of dive a little deeper into the process, because I know for me, it took me hearing a couple of examples for me to feel like, okay, I can really use this and make it my own. But yeah, pretty much what you'll see based off of this technique is you're pretty much going to be talking about the same thing over and over again. You're just going to be hitting it from a different angle. Like, this is what I struggle with. That's like video number 1, video number 2. This is how I solve it. Video number 3. These are resources that help me work on it. Number 4, this is my story of the time. So basically, like, you know, Sarah said, like, I don't know if any of you guys have channels that you watch consistently over a long period of time. But this is like what they do. Like, you just like get to the point where you've listened to them so much and you're like, their advice is almost predictable. Like you pretty much know what they're going to say.
Mm-hmm.
And it's because I really feel like she probably evaluated that and came up with her framework for how these people who have been making content for years on years, how it always seems like they have fresh content, but really when you listen to it, they're pretty much saying the same thing over and over and over again. And for me, I feel like it helps your channel be focused when you can use this method, and it helps you create a binge watchable channel, because if you get the right person to your channel and you're talking about a problem that they can connect with and relate with, and you literally have 50 different ways of punching that topic not the same way, but punching that topic from different angles and different perspectives, that's what's going to make your content binge watchable. And once somebody gets in your channel, they're going to be clicking video after video. That's what happened when I came across Stephanie Gass the first time. I listened to her podcast for like 2 or 3 weeks straight because I felt like every single episode was relevant.
Yeah,
and I felt like I've listened to her enough to know like pretty much where her standard advice is. And it's probably because she's following her own system, but I'm like, I can't get enough of it, because sometimes I feel like I listen to something, I walk away so confident, like, yeah, okay, I can do it. And then like life happens and I'm like, oh my God, I suck. I can't do this. And so I need her to like keep like pumping me up and making me feel like, okay, I can do this. And so I don't feel like, it's going to be helpful to the people that you want to help, for them to hear you talk about this problem and this solution in 100 different ways until they get to the point where they're taking action, because ultimately that's what we want. That's what changes people's lives, is to feel inspired and to take action that they were not taking before, so that they can get the results that they want. So,
well, while you were talking, I jotted down a couple of things because I wanted to illustrate this, because mindset is really big to me. That's something that I think a lot about, research, etc. But then I just wrote down a few things. You could talk about mindset, about your channel, about your daily life, about your confidence, about overcoming the past things that you've been taught that were wrong or unnecessary. Mindset in business and relationships with your kids. Like there's a million different ways you can actually talk about mindset. And so I just wanted to throw a few of them down to just show you that, yes, it's basically the same content, but you're breaking it down in different ways.
It applies in different areas or different areas of your life. Absolutely. Yeah.
Holy moly, we've been going for an hour.
Yeah. All right. So do you want to go ahead and move into application? Because for me, like that was huge, just like hearing somebody talk about it. Should we use like maybe, because like, okay, so we have 2 people working on this podcast, obviously, and our ideal customers, they have a lot of overlap, but they're also very different. Do you want to use this podcast as an example, or do you want to like talk about your personal YouTube, us to talk about our personal YouTube channels, or
I don't think you can talk about this podcast. I mean, yeah.
Oh, somebody's here. I see them 3 watching, unless you're watching from your phone.
No.
Okay. So,
hi.
And it's like super delayed, but if whoever is watching, if you want to like share your niche, we can make this interactive. Anyway,
or if you have questions, can you see questions from your computer?
Yes, I have it like pulled over to the side where we can see questions. So, So I really didn't really prepare my mind for this in advance. So this is like literally going to be me coming up with 50 content ideas for this podcast on the spot. So this is going to be fun, because ideally we should have this prepared already, but it really it's going to show you how it works. So Sarah and I are very clear on our customer ideal app. Not very clear. I'm still working on it, but we kind of have an idea of who our ideal customer avatar is. Do you want to go first? Or you want me to go first?
Do you want me to do struggles?
I think for me, what was helpful when I heard the Stephanie method is she gave 2 different examples. And it was helpful for me to see how she could apply it to multiple examples. And so I think it would be helpful for both of us. Like when we get to struggles, like if you list like 3 and I list 3, we don't have to go through all 10. Okay. Is that okay with you? Okay. So, and then maybe you just give a few details of like who you're talking to. I give a few details, so people can just hear the different perspectives.
Okay. So my ideal customer avatar is Sam, and that's like That's me. So struggles are going to be, and our podcast is geared towards women, moms who make YouTube videos because the struggle is so real. So my struggles are going to be confidence, they're going to be time, and they're going to be confidence, time, and when we're on a live situation, I freeze up. Confidence, time, and that's going to be it. 2 for me. Go ahead.
Okay. For me, my person is LaDay. Y'all, I think I'm just gonna be calling her out a lot on this channel, so y'all know I'm not talking to y'all. I'm talking to myself. I'm giving myself advice, and so, so yeah, little LaDay. She is a mom. She wants to start a YouTube channel, and my little LaDay is also struggling with confidence. She's also struggling with time. She's also not really seeing that she has value to offer outside of like trendy videos or the things that's obvious. She's really struggling because she feels like all these people are watching her who don't really care. And so that's really preventing her from like trying new things. She's like low key a perfectionist, and not the perfectionist like, oh my God, like everything has to be like perfect, but she's like really hard on herself. So when she puts videos out, like, you know, and they're not performing well, she can really be hard on herself. And so like in order to progress, she's gonna have to have like a whole mindset shift and learn to see these things as data and not as a personal reflection of her. So her struggles, one thing that really helps me when I'm thinking about the 10 struggles. So for you guys, for those of you who are following along, the first 10 content ideas are going to come, you're going to write down 10 struggles that she has. So, and that's 10 video ideas. So the thing that really helps me whenever I'm thinking about content ideas is she wants to do this, but, and I think about the obstacle. Like she wants to start a YouTube channel, but she's seeking approval and she keeps asking people what they think about her channel and nobody's encouraging her. Everybody's telling her they're stupid. So I need to think of solutions for that in the next bucket. She wants to be consistent on her channel, but she has children who keep interrupting her. And so she feels like she can't make videos consistently because she doesn't have like the time like everybody else. She wants to she doesn't like making like the videos that she's making. She's making videos about food allergies and she feels like she doesn't like it. She's not passionate about it, but she doesn't see where she could provide values from other area, like provide value based off of other areas in her life. So that's just 3 struggles, but it really helps when you think about she wants to do this, but there's an obstacle. And so that helps me. And so you think of 10 of those, that's 10 video ideas that you can talk about and give solutions to, like, think about what would you say to that person if you can go back. So even like with health and fitness, she wants to eat healthy, but this keeps coming up. Or, you know, I'm trying to think like with parenting, she wants to be kind to her kids, but they keep getting on her nerves and acting like little monsters. Like, you know, just what does she want and what is in her way?
Yeah.
Those. And there you go.
Okay, so I gave the 2 examples of the struggle. Do you want me to just go all the way across, like the struggle, the solution, blah, blah, blah?
Okay, if you want to.
Okay, so for my girl, 2 of her struggles are confidence and time. And so 2 ways I can solve those problems. For confidence, I can do mindset shifts. These are just simply things that I have found that work for me. And then for time, something that's worked for me is block scheduling. So I can talk to her about that. And then if we go to quotes and resources, then for mindset and confidence, I'm going to definitely point her to Jen Sincero because that's who I've been reading for a while now. And she's awesome. She's really changed a lot of the ways that I think. For a resource for block scheduling, I could provide a printable, like what this looks like as you're trying to like segment your day and you're busy and you're doing things. And then 10 ideas are just stories that you have from your life. So, I mean, I could go on and on and on and on about those. But like, as far as confidence, like I used to be so scared I would never show up on video, period. So how I got from here to now doing a live stream was a whole 2 people watching. And so I would talk about that. And then as far as time, I would talk about the fact that like before I did block scheduling, I thought multitasking was the way to go. And then benefits are, if you have enough confidence, you can explore new ideas and not keep yourself like boxed into this or that. And then if you have enough time, then you're able to actually go for stuff you want to do, as opposed to always thinking that you're like stuck in your routine because you're just so busy you could never have time to do X, Y, or Z. Okay, you talk. I'm plugging in my camera.
Sarah, I feel like this was a setup.
Oh,
because you're about to let me sit here and riff. Girl, I could talk about this for like 30 minutes, and I feel like I must.
You got
LaDay.
4 minutes.
Okay, what happens in 4 minutes?
Nothing. I'm just gonna plug in my camera, so you got 4 minutes.
All right. So we talked about the 10 struggles, and Sarah has given her examples. I don't know why I feel like so passionate about this. Like, this is gonna help. This is gonna change lives, Sarah.
Do it. Change lives. I'll be back.
Okay, so 10 ways that we could solve problems for little Day. Now it's little Day's turn. This feels really awkward to like talk when you're not here, Sarah. I don't even know if she can hear me. I can't do this. Okay, now I'm going for it. All right, so we talked about how little Day has issues with finding time with her kids, how she's having a hard time with confidence. We also talked about how she's having a hard time seeing the other value that she can have. So solutions that I would have for her. So if we just focused on the time bucket, I would talk to her about making sure that you're using your time appropriately. When you are a baby entrepreneur, sometimes there are things that are like flashy lights, like, oh my God, you need to really be working on this and da da da. But those are not things that are going to drive your business forward. So I really talk to her about working on things that are actually going to move your business forward, move your brand forward, and not being sucked into the trap of doing busy work. That's not really going to produce results for her. So I would talk to her about that. Sarah mentioned time blocking. So I would talk to her about time blocking. Also, a big thing that I do now is I work in pocket of time. Like before I kind of like got on my journey of YouTube, I used to feel like I needed to have like a 3-4 hour window to get stuff done. And that doesn't ever happen in my life anymore. So I would talk to her about maximizing, like if you have 10 minutes here, 15 minutes here, think about little things, little objectives that you can meet in those pocket of times. And then from confidence, Sarah and I do a lot of mindset stuff. And so that's what I would just really pour into her, is just like, I'm trying to think of a specific confidence hack. Just basically
daily affirmations.
You say what? Oh, daily affirmations. Really just informing her that them people that she think who's following her and looking at her every move, they don't actually care. I would tell her basically about, like she feels like she's not getting support. Sometimes you have to like do stuff and move forward on your goals in order to get the support of people around you. Like nobody's going to believe you more than you believe yourself. That might not be true in every situation, but like in this, if that's something you're struggling with, like show the belief first, take the inspired action first, and then maybe those people that you're concerned about not supporting you will come along. At least that's been the case for me. And then in terms of providing value, we would create, content like this, like showing that you don't have to do the trendy stuff to provide value. You can share stories from your real life. And then also in terms of quotes and resources, I would direct her toward, in terms of time management, I would direct her toward my Fly Lady videos on my other channel and how to streamline the processes in her home so that she can create more time in her day to work on her stuff. I would probably tell her about quotes and resources. That's pretty much, I would just tell her like how to give her ideas on how to systematize what she wants to do. In terms of confidence, I would probably hit her up with some Brene Brown quotes. Girl, get your life. And in terms of offering value, I would probably, I can't think of any like specific quotes or printables. I can't think of any off the top of the head. But I would think of some like article or something. Maybe I'll send her Stephanie Gass's podcast, like tons of podcasts. Jasmine Star, Stephanie Gass, James Wedmore, like all these people that I love and adore so much, I would send her all those as resources. And then stories. And by the way, for each of these buckets, you guys, you should be listing down 10 ways. And so if you're following along so far, you should have 30 video ideas that you can talk about. Now we're getting into stories. I would just tell her about a personal time that I struggled with the things that she's struggling with. And how do I have stories? Because I am her. I am little LaDay 2.0. So I would tell her about the time, and my life would be so parallel to what she's going through. She's going to be like, oh my God, because like she's probably still going through what I went through. And so I would tell her about the time that I felt like I didn't have time. And so I never made content, even though I wanted to. And how the most important part with stories is sharing how you overcame it. So I would tell her about, I had my twins and I felt like I would never do this YouTube thing. So I would give her my 2 to 3 steps that I use to make time to get my stuff done with 4 kids and feeling overwhelmed with my house stuff. In terms of confidence, I would share my experience at the time that my kidneys hurt so bad because I posted a video that I thought was going to perform really horribly and how I survived. And in terms of providing value, I would share that I thought that I can only make food allergy videos. And now here I am, like trying to give YouTubers advice on how to YouTube, even though my YouTube channel is not popping like that. I would give her the stories. And then for benefits, I would tell her, like, if you follow my advice, this is what you're going to see in your life. How to create time to do YouTube. That's a benefit. So I just turned it into a how-to statement. It's literally the same thing. Talk about the problem, talk about the solution. How to show up on, or how to get confidence to make your first YouTube video. How to find video ideas that are unique and helpful. So I would just list 10 of those. It's literally the same thing over and over again, but you guys, this is what's really going to make your content cohesive. And it's going to give you a binge watchable channel with a message that is reinforced in and throughout. Uh-oh, Sarah, where'd you go?
I don't know.
Okay, all I see is Sony. Uh-oh, is your camera dying?
No, I plugged it in. I'm pretty sure.
Okay. I guess they don't have to see. We can hear you, so that's pretty much it. That was LaDay. I'm sorry. I had like, girl, I felt the spirit move through me with that one. So
I think that's good.
I hope it's clear. Like, I feel like some things you just have to like. Okay, this is from Simply Enjoying Life. I'm so late. I couldn't figure out where to find you, but I did. Thank you for joining us, Sarah.
Hey, Leanne.
Okay.
I can't see him, but I know that that's Leanne. What's up, girl?
For coming through. I'm so excited.
Do you have, okay, I think we need to finish we have to finish mindset. And then if you have questions, we will talk about them.
Is that step 4? Oh, no, we have to go back and say like if, no?
Well, I don't know what you're talking about.
Me neither, girl. I'm trying to figure it out. I'm with you.
Okay, so I think that the last thing was just talking. Okay, so we've been talking about content ideas, and then we talked about the problems, and then we talked about how to work on this. So you have to find out who your ideal customer avatar is. You have to realize that you're not the vehicle. We gave the Stephanie Gass model, and now I think the last thing is mindset. So when I first started, I really wanted to make money. I mentioned that earlier. And that became a problem for me because I just felt like crushing pressure all the time because I actually needed to pay bills. I've got like $1 million in student loan debt. And so every time I created a video and it wasn't met with like a lot of whatever, I would just get discouraged and be like, I can't do that. And I would only pick video ideas based on what I thought would perform well. So that coupled with insecurity made me like really keep my content very small and not expand. Do you understand? Do you feel that way too?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Okay. So what I discovered was that Angie Lee taught us this. We were taking a marketing class together, and she taught us that you don't actually have to be an expert. You can be a researcher. And this is very good news for me because I'm an Enneagram 5, as is LaDay special, and I love researching. So I just thought I can do that. Like, I don't have verifiable results in anything in my life, but I do love to bring you all of the research that maybe you haven't done. Maybe you don't like listening to podcasts. You don't like reading books. And I can come up with that information and be like, this is going to help you. I did all the research for you. This is it. So I think that that's an important mindset shift, that you do not have to show up as the expert of all things in order to provide a lot of valuable content. What do you think, LaDay?
For shizzle. Wait, are you, sorry.
Mm-hmm.
We can edit this part out. Mm-hmm. I'm trying to figure out where we are. Like, are we still working through, now you're going through hitting up mindset and like the ways that you would work through that? Or are we like doing like a wrap up, like a conclusion?
I already went through all of mine. I just went through them really
That's why I just
quickly.
want to make sure, because I don't have it in my notes. So I'm just trying to follow along. Are we now, we're just hopping out of strategies and now we're moving into, okay, mindset. Our matrix. Okay, so you don't have to have it all. Okay. And then you already summarized for us. So are we now talking about the benefits that will come?
Yeah, but I think you should talk about like how when you love something, you'll invest the time in it, because you have that really great story about how you did food allergies and that just wasn't exciting for you.
Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah. Now I understand. Like mindset. The problem with doing content that you don't love. Is that kind of what we're talking about? Yeah. No, I think it's important to just expand your mind a little bit about what type of content that you can provide. I know that it seems very tempting to do the trendy stuff, but if it's not vibing with you, I suggest that you try to look at into some other areas that you could possibly talk about. Like for me, as you know, I've mentioned that I tried to do the food allergy things, and I felt like I could talk about that because that was the only thing that I had experience with for more than like a year. And, you know, I honestly just I didn't see myself talking about that for a long time. And I'm just kind of glad that we've gotten, like through our mastermind group and just through us talking together and through podcasts, that I've kind of opened my mind up to know that I can talk about other things. Literally just being a human being, like we have to problem solve on a regular basis. Like if you're a mom, Lord knows you're a detective on the side trying to solve all these darn issues that these kids have. And just know that like there's somebody who's like 2 steps behind you, and that it's always okay to like turn around and to acknowledge them and to share what you figured out thus far. You don't have to be like at the top of the totem pole to help people. So I think that's what we want to share, and just really evaluating and taking a step back and remembering what it's like to be in your shoes before you started making moves and before you started moving forward. Remember what it was like to be in your shoes back then, and remember the struggles that you had. Remember the questions that you had. Sometimes experts are so far removed from what it's like to be a beginner and to just start that they forget about those questions or they don't know them. I'm sure a lot of them do like a lot of product research, but it's like sometimes like you can give yourself a substantial head start on that product research because you remember what it's like to walk in your shoes. And like sharing that stuff can really just be helpful to people who are still trying to figure things out.
Yeah, I totally agree. Okay, that's my notes. And also we've been on here for a while, like an hour and a half.
I think I just had like one little bubble of notes here that I hadn't touched on. But basically, yeah, if you kind of follow this method and try the things that we've talked about, I think this will help kind of make your channel a little more creative if that's what you want. We talked about how this is a long-term strategy, and you know, this is really a good way to build the foundation on just principles that you really believe in and things that have really helped you. We think that this method will also help you stay focused. We know that niche word is really a hard pill to swallow, but we'll have future videos where we kind of talk about our thoughts on that. But if that is something that you want to do, like following this example that we gave you, even if you sat down and did this like every month, I literally have so many content ideas. Like I put them on a spreadsheet, and like I'm like struggling to like, I try to do this like once a month, and it's like really hard to like keep up because I only make 1 video a week. So I mean, like it's a really good way to keep your channel focused and to keep the content ideas coming when you use a framework like this. And also it really helps you create a binge watchable channel, because if you get the right person to your channel who can identify with the problems and the solutions that you have to offer, and you have this back-to-back content focusing on the same problem and getting them results. Like it really encourages the right person to just watch your channel and binge watch and just to really dive into what you have to say. And so that's ultimately what we want, because I feel like after somebody watches like a good 3 to 4 to 5 of your videos, like y'all are besties now. Mm-hmm. And like for me, that's my experience when I listen to podcasts. And if I'm so into it and I listen to several episodes, like I really feel like connected to you. And like some of the people that I mentioned earlier in terms of resources, that's the effect that happened when I got on their channel. I was like, wow, this really connects with me. This resonates with me. I watched like several of their videos, and now I'm like waiting for their next podcast episodes to come out. I'm waiting for their next videos to come out. And that's what we can do on our channels as well if we kind of have this type of strategy. So
totally. I love that.
Yeah.
Okay. Do we have any questions?
Any questions? Hey, girl, I was so excited. I found you guys. Yay, we're so happy that you're here.
It's hard to find us right now.
I know. Hopefully, once we create a few videos, YouTube will acknowledge our existence.
Yeah.
And then we'll be searchable.
Yeah, YouTube straight told me you don't exist. And I was like, I do.
Did that not happen on your personal channel? That happened on my personal channel for a while.
Yeah,
like, I just gave up.
I didn't search for myself at that time.
I did. Girl was like, LaDay's Quarter. And then not only that, I used to type in my videos thinking that I would pop up girl, I was so naive. Like I thought I would just pop right up at the top of the search engine. I had no idea about all the work and what is it called? All the, gosh, I can't even think. I'm tired. SEO stuff. No idea. Yeah. I just thought, there I go. And I wasn't there. So
yeah, happens. Okay. Well, if we don't have anything
call to action
left to talk about, we have a podcast. It is called The Momfluence. And we also want to really be diving into our mastermind. So LaDay and I are part of a mastermind already, and it has revolutionized our thinking and how we're approaching our lives and our channels. For me, I just think if you can, okay, I love my husband. Let me just start right there. But I talked to him about my channel, and I can see like his eyes glazing over a little bit. And I need someone to be like, well, have you tried this? Have you tried this? Well, you said the other day that you were going to do this and you didn't. I need that kind of accountability in my life. I need people who understand what the heck I'm trying to do and how hard it is to go through this, because it is so hard to have a channel. And so that's where a mastermind comes in, because you have a group of people who are going to problem solve with you, and they're going to troubleshoot and look at your channel with you and like push you when you're feeling a little bit like scared. And they're going to keep you accountable. If you said you did something, well, did you do it? So that's what we're hoping to put out there with you guys, is making a mastermind for you guys so that you can feel the benefit and grow.
Yes, sir.
Mm-hmm.
Should I say
is that it? Yeah.
That's pretty much it. Yeah. Like, I can't even tell you the ways in which a mastermind group has helped me level up in terms of my mindset. Sometimes it's just nice to have people around that, like you said, who know what you're going through.
Yep.
I love my husband too, but you can tell he is tired of hearing me talk about YouTube, and I'm tired of talking to somebody who doesn't care. And that's why me and Sarah, like, we can literally talk about this thing for hours, and we do. Like, we have our mastermind on the weekend, and it is just so nice. And so we just want to create that sisterhood, because we know that there are moms out there who are looking for that support. We know that there are moms out there who are just kind of like ready to give up on their channels. And I can't even tell you, like, on a regular basis how much I want to give up on YouTube, because I'm like, I am so tired of this torture, because growing and developing and leveling up can sometimes be a very uncomfortable process. And it is so nice to have a sisterhood of people who are going through it and who get it, to just be there to tell you to hold on. just get through another video. You can do this. And so we just believe in this cause so much of helping moms share their authentic stories and helping other moms. And we just want to see more people stick around. And if this sounds like something that you're interested in, please email us at themomfluencebiz@gmail.com. The first 25 people. Now, I heard this on a James Wedmore thing this morning. I don't know. I'm gonna throw it out there. The first 25 people can get in half price. Y'all are gonna be our founding members. So don't hesitate. We can
jump on it.
You want to? I'm like, you want to? Because that's what he recommends. He recommends having like a discounted price for the first couple of people just to get the ball rolling.
Yeah.
Founding members, we can work through how to set it up together.
Yeah.
So hit us up if you're interested. We need to really work this offer out.
I'm just so tired.
Me too. I'm gonna be so mad at myself. I gotta go to bed.
It's almost 10 o'clock. Okay, so let us say goodbye.
All right.
All right. Thank you so much for being here, and we will talk to you next time.
Peace.
Bye, LaDay. Bye.
Oh. All right. So simply enjoying life. I missed the first majority of this. Will this be posted for replay? Absolutely.
Yes.
As soon as we click out of this button, it will be here forever. So, all right.
We tried, y'all. We tried.
Thank you guys so much for joining us on the live. What did you think about it, Sarah, before you go to bed?
I think that it's way better with you. Like if I'm all by myself, I'm like, I cannot say that many words correctly in one sentence. So having someone else, it's way easier. What did you think?
I felt like it was a little more difficult to like get into my flow state because I'm like, oh my God, there's somebody watching. And like whenever we record alone, like you can just like cut stuff out, but this is like raw, unedited.
Yeah.
So it's definitely like a different experience that I hope we'll get better. I'll get better with in time. Like maybe this is like my one step toward public speaking. So
girl, everything in our life is about keeping us uncomfortable. So that's why we've got to keep doing live, because it's so freaking uncomfortable. So there it is. Okay.
I gotta go to bed. I gotta go to work tomorrow. I'm gonna be so sad. So
all right.
wait, should I wait a minute. How do I end